If you're like me, you might be getting into modeling coming from a tube amp. Like here is my number one amp for the longest time, a 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue. And then you get into something like this, or this. So if you're running an old school analog amp, like I do, the 65 Deluxe, you cannot separate your reverb from your delay, okay? So let me explain this. If you do not have an effects loop and you're just running your pedal board directly into the front of your amp, if you use a delay pedal, here's the thing that you may not be aware of. Whenever you're running a spring reverb, not only is your guitar signal hitting the reverb, but also your delay is hitting the reverb. So that can get a little muddy, and that's how your ears can perceive what I'm talking about. Whenever we get into digital modeling, we can separate our reverbs from our delay, and we can still let both of them get access to the same guitar signal, but we can separate what actually hits reverb. Now, whenever we're recording or if we're playing live, what that'll turn into as the listener or you as the guitar tone chaser, you know, is you get cleaner reverb. So now only guitar signals hitting reverb, not delay, or vice versa. Now, if you do have an amp with an effects loop, everything I'm about to show you applies to that effects loop. You just need to run what's called the 4-cable method. So you'll basically have a cable that goes to your guitar, to your pedal board with like your distortion, your phaser, and all this. But for your time bass effects, you can run a separate loop to your effects in and your effects out. So you can really separate this out. I don't have access to one of these amps, but I do have access to the modeler. Also, the modeler you're gonna see me use is the Tone Master Pro. Most of my tips are gonna be specific for the Tone Master Pro by Fender. However, they apply to any modeler. What I'm gonna show you, I can also replicate in the Axe FX 3, and I'm sure you can replicate it in the Helix and the Quad Cortex. So let's get into it.
All right, from here on out, all the sounds that you're going to hear are going to be from the Tone Master Pro direct. So my vocal chain is actually being, all the effects are controlled via Logic. Logic is pumping all the audio into my Fender Tone Master Pro, and I have my Fender Tone Master Pro connected to my iPhone via an interface. So that signal chain out of the way, let's jump into how to build an actual tone. All right. We're going to start off, I'm going to create a new preset. The guitar of choice today is a Gibson SG Tribute. This is, I think, 2022 model. It's stock from the factory. So that's our signal with no amp. First thing we're going to do is, if you come down here to the bottom, you'll see preset settings. We're going to click this. Just go ahead and fix this. If you're planning on recording, bump this up to 100. I don't know why this is a default by Fender. I hope this is something they change. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our signal path type. Now, depending on the modeler that you use, the process of doing this might be different. So if you're coming from the fractal space, you actually have to go in and drag your chain out. And we're going to be doing this, you'll have to do this post-amp. So I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. But just know that your process is going to look slightly different on different units. But the Fender unit, they make it easy. If you want to build this out, oh, and this is the other thing from the Fender unit. If you are going to do this, you can always go back in retrospect and add more parallel. So you can run two things in parallel. Where this may come handy for you as a user is in the first one, if you just want to use one amp and you want to just separate your delay and your reverb or any time-based effects, so also echo, you'll see in a second. You can do that with this one. If you want to run two amps in stereo, or you can run them in mono and just have two amps giving you a really thick tone, or two cabs. Sometimes I'll do that, is I'll run one amp, two cabs, and change the mic so I can get a really beefy tone. You can do that with parallel too, and you can always go back and forth. But we're just gonna start with one. Today's video is just about showing you how to do this and what this means if you've never done this before. So it's really geared towards a guy who hasn't touched any of this before. So don't worry, I got you, bro. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just create, let's do a clean tone. I've been wanting to mess around with the AC30. Usually I'll show you on here because I know people are gonna ask. My favorite amps that I use a lot is a 59 Bassman. Dude, if you love stoner metal or stoner rock, throw on a 59 Bassman and this thing screams. Oh, and also, I can showcase what they sound like without committing, so maybe I'll do that. Here's a little Bassman. Sounds great. I use the Princeton a lot. The Deluxe Reverb. You saw I have one in my room. I'm a big fan of it. The Van Halen amp is really good. The Red channel. But I don't want to get lost going down different amps because that could be a whole hour-long video. I do want to jump into the AC 130, so that's going to be what I use for this. That's the Brilliant. Let me hear the difference. We'll do the Brilliant because I'm playing a humbucker. If I'm doing a single coil, maybe I'll try the normal. But to be honest, I don't really know the difference between Brilliant and normal. I'm assuming Brilliant is probably just more highs. Maybe it's jumped or something. All right, so... Sounds good, but there's no reverb. And this is just all stock settings. Oh yeah, you can see we got it on the high and the Brilliant channel. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it flat. I'm not gonna change too much on here. I'll do another video talking about how to dial in an amp, but that would take me, probably 30 minutes to explain that. Maybe less. Maybe this will challenge me to keep things simple. Next thing I'm gonna do though, is I'm going to add in, you can do this anywhere, but I'm just click the in, I'm gonna come down. The first effect I'm gonna do, we're gonna do a reverb. I always use the 65 reverb convolution. Don't ask me what it is. I haven't read into it, but that's just the one I've been using lately. So we're going to do something different. And again, just like anything else, if you click on it, you can sample it. Now we get that dialed in where it sounds a little bit better. But I want to do something different for this video that I haven't used. So let's see what some of these celestial reverbs are. All right, that's kind of cool. We're gonna work with that. We'll figure it out. The other thing I'm gonna do, just for demonstrational purposes, is I'm gonna go ahead and grab a delay pedal. I've been using the digital delay, so let's do something different. Let's do memory delay based off of Memory Man. All right, so if you have a deluxe reverb like I do, this is typically what this looks like. And you may not. What I want you to listen for is listening to how the reverb pedal reacts to this. It would probably be better to show it with a different reverb pedal, but the thing is you're getting my guitar signal and the delay signal is hitting the amp, and then that signal after post amp, we're now hitting the reverb. So it's fine to do it like this. Look. When it comes to guitar tone, look, man, you got to be the Bob Ross. There are no rules. You just paint that picture however you like. Try something. If it sounds good, use it. Don't worry about doing things the right way or the way I would do them. Try to figure out the way you do things and just commit. But for the sake of this video, I have found that it does help to separate your delay and your reverb for what I like. But again, I am probably a hypocrite, and I will probably not always separate this out. In fact, I've published a couple of them where they're not like that. So just so you can understand signal chaining and what's actually going on here. So my guitar is going straight from my humbuckers when I hit. It's going straight into my pickups. Right now I'm on the bridge pickup. That bridge pickup is now through this guitar cable going straight into the Tone Master Pro. From the back of the Tone Master Pro, our guitar signal's here. Now we're hitting the amp. Now when we come here, both level A and B are getting full wide open guitar signaling. So that's our input. Now on our output side, I have everything at unity. So if you were to want to run something in stereo or do some panning, like sometimes I'll do this when I record, you can do that here. So when you go left, that's obviously panning left. You go right, you can pan it right. So if you're curious about how you can separate your out or do stereo effects, that's how you do it. Because you can put like one amp, like I was experimenting with a 59 basement on top and an AC 30 on the bottom, and I was doing like a 30 to the left, 30 to the right panning for a recording, and it gave me a really, really cool guitar tone. But you have to have stereo setups, and most of us, if you're playing it live, I'm just running mono. I'm not running stereo. So keep that in mind. While you can do it, always think about the gig that you're playing to. If you're playing at a gig where you're only running one cable out, it's not going to be beneficial to have stereo effects. But if you're recording, or like lately I've been doing a lot of live streaming with this unit, I can live stream in stereo because I'm wearing headphones. So I hear it, you hear it. So if you hear headphones on a TikTok live stream of mine, you'll hear it all in stereo as I do. It's kind of cool. It's cool you can do that. So this right here is parallel programming. You know, you can do a lot. You can really go in and dial it out. And again, all we're doing is we are separating our guitar signals. So now I'll show you what it sounds like. Really pretty. Yeah, I think for this video, we're going to kind of keep it kind of short so I can pump these out about hopefully just giving you really easily digestible content about the Tone Master Pro. And as always, if you ever have any questions about this stuff, leave it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this format and if you found it beneficial, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And lastly, if you really want to jump into the deep end, you're like, man, I love this stuff, I want to learn more, consider joining my Patreon. There'll be a link in the bio or in the description of this. It's $5 a month. I publish content teaching you music theory that you can use for songwriting, and then I also talk about stuff like this in great detail. I wrote out an entire article on parallel programming and how I use it with doing different cabs and different amps and using different microphones to blend to get really cool guitar tones. So if that is of interest of you, consider checking it out. As always, thank you for watching. If you made it to this part, what I would like for you to do in the comment section is tell me one thing you're grateful for. For example, I'm grateful you're here. I am grateful you guys are enjoying this content, and I'll see you in the next one.